Nestled among sand dunes on the Dutch coast, 36 laps around Zandvoort will demand patience and precision. A rollercoaster of speed and strategy, where overtaking is scarce, mistakes are costly, and only the bold can master its relentless rhythm on the way to glory. This week's reserve driver lineup starts with ICU and Jean-Claude at Alpine, Xbox in at VCarb, and both Williams and Sauber only fielding one driver. 18 drivers on the grid. Barbans dropped the first meaningful quali time of 108.5, which he would go on to beat by 1/10 for a 108.4, and later beat to a 108.2. After the flag dropped, he would improve that time by a few hundredths. Notable behind Barbans was Takubi with a 108.4 and ICU, who retired to the pits early after clocking a 108.7. Mars set a 108.6. Quali would translate to a front row of Barbans and Takubi on mediums, Mars second row on hards, beside ICU on mediums, Lay third row on mediums alongside Max on hards, Berkey and Orax on the fourth row on mediums, and rounding out the front five rows, Sert on hards and Epa Ake on mediums. Working to the back of the grid, Nick, Kilzer and Rando all ran mediums, with Wins, Bradders, Xbox and Josh on hards. Takubi's race took a turn at the start, losing his rear and uncharacteristically careening into the barrier. The damage would take him out of the race before the end of lap 1. A major blow to the championship leader, but an opportunity for one of the chasing pack. Lap 2 saw the pack shuffle up and fill the gaps left by Takubi and Lay, who came off at turn 3 and would eventually DNF. Lap 6, ICU let Barbans know he had no intention of letting the race be a procession, taking the lead heading into lap 7. And into lap 8, Barbans put the usurper in his place, retaking the lead. Behind the front two, the battle was between Berkey and Mars, fighting back and forth for P3. Lap 14 saw a sequence of drivers swapping out their mediums for hards, with the net leaders Barbans, ICU and Berkey all on hards by the end of lap 15. Mars came into the pits for his mediums on lap 23, exiting in P4 behind the leading pack of ICU, Barbans and Berkey. With such a tight, precise course, the marvel of the race would be watching the drivers negotiate the track, with precious few opportunities to challenge for positions. In quick succession, Max managed to pass Nick for P5, and Mars closed in on Berkey, challenging for P3. Would any of Berkey's heroics helping Mars last week factor into the race for P3? Of course not. Mars would ease into P3, and although they would switch back a few times, Mars would pull away from Berkey's flagging tyres. Coming into the last lap, ICU worked hard to take the lead from Barbans, but there was no moving on the Hungarian. Barbans would take the flag with ICU right behind. Mars would hold on to his P3, 9 seconds back, and Berkey P4, another 14 seconds back. The consistent Max would round out the top 5. Sert finished P6, Jean-Claude an impressive P7 from a starting grid position of P18. Nick P8, Epa Ake P9 and Rando rounding out the points in P10. Xbox was the last of the finishers, with Kilzer, Wins, Lay, Bradders, Orax, Josh and Takubi all failing to finish the race. In the Drivers' Championship, Takubi still holds the lead with 3 weeks remaining. The gap is preciously thin though, and both Barbans and Mars look good to take up any slack. In the Constructors, Aston Martin have benefited from both drivers regularly finishing in the top 5, leaning on McLaren's shoulder and hoping for a few more DNFs. Mercedes look to have the third spot sewn up, with the big battles taking place in the lower order positions, all shaping up for an interesting 3 weeks. Coming up, we have Austria, where the Red Bull Ring will no doubt deliver high-speed racing, heavy braking zones and stunning alpine views.